All right, we are live again. Hello, holler if you hear you, because I was the chat there. We're talking about the bad reception at the beginning of my stream. Now I've decided to start over, and we have got it all right in here for you to get back into the what's going on, what is happening here. I see. Let's hope that this signal continues on better than before, because there have been times where I'll get a signal connection mess up with my stream, but I usually get to see it of there's an error connecting or difficulty connecting, something like that happening. I see you now, but on my end, I never saw anything. But now we're all back. I see people coming on in. That's great to pour back in. I mean, just as Nick showed up in the chat, then people were talking and complaining about the stream, the signal being malfunctioning or something. Now this is going. I'll now, once again, since we're starting back over, and I'm going to go and I'll delete that first attempt at the stream tonight. This is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be mixing it up a little bit and showing you all this, how I color one of my pieces. This little piece right here, this is a Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. This is what we're going to be coloring tonight, since I thought, hey, why don't we go and do that? We got Puma Fist in the chat. God damn it. We got Instant Karma also in here. Let's see if the rest of my usual chat people that were coming in tonight will get back in. Relentless was in as well. So let's see, party people, if we can get the stock to return. Well, now with the wrestling segment being thrown out of the way and all that, decided that we're going to show some things for those who did not see my video earlier. We have this that came in. Yes, a little more of the Raquel Welch Playboy issue. This was the last Playboy issue of the 1970s. It includes, yes, it's also the Gala Christmas issue with no such Christmas decorations on front. See what else there is. A photographs celebration of the decade's most desirable woman, even though she doesn't appear nude. She's probably one of the first examples of a celebrity who did a non-nude spread for the magazine. There's also the first ever in-depth interview with Al Pacino, allegedly. Norman Mailer, beating the NFL, how to beat the point spread. Right down there. And this is something in Playboy I know I can show you on camera if I can get to it properly. What is this? Oh, yeah. Where did that go? Oh, wait, I found it. But these were so thick back in the day. Here. A bonehead course in NFL betting. You see this? Now that's the painting cover, but look. It's also, if I can get my, right there. Yes. You got you've got your typical aggressive-looking NFL player, but then you unfold it, and there's the machine back there, machinery underneath the skin, and the beginning of the article. Very nice. And we've got Nick back there, and see, yes, this pretty nice. Thick. This is about 400 pages. Yes, Karma says it's better now. We've got 400 pages of Christmas joy and also of the decade here. Playmates Encore, your all-time favorites look better than ever. Although there is also a creepy thing here in the beginning where they show the forum, and there's a picture of a centerfold. There's the centerfold from one of the centerfolds of the 50s, and there's a photo of her right next to a magazine cover of her underage daughter, Diane Lane. Okay, creepy. It reminds me of that one commercial that the Nostalgia Critic showed in one of his commercial episodes, where he talks about the 70s and, oh yeah, they really knew what sexy was. And then he shows us one commercial from the 70s of that it's a woman licking a lollipop, and there's narration saying there's few things sexier out the world. And that's a baby. Nothing is sexier than innocence. Describing babies as sexy and on a TV commercial in 1975. There also is a nice little segment of the comic strips in here, but here's something I can show you. It's their college basketball preview. And as usual, Michigan State is choking. They're getting scored on by some team I can't even recognize. But here they are. Yes. We've got Vanessa and Instant Karma back in the chat. Let's see if we can get Julie Wolf back in. Or wait, well, 9-0. Oh, yes. Michigan being 9-0. There we are with Playboys. Fix now. Well, in some cases, I saw on my side of everything, it must be someone. It must be someone else's signal then, because I never saw any internet going on at all on my side of things. And usually, if there is any kind of error connection, it happens there. So it's got to be something else or someplace else. We also have The Holy Land, a story by writer John Updike. And, well, let's see. I can show you this because she's not nude. So there is Raquel Welch like that. Around the same summer, not too many issues before this, you had Bo Derek in her first of 5 different Playboy appearances, where there she was, and she went the full Monty. But I'm guessing that's a difference in generations, isn't it? Or her being the big new star, with more permissiveness in the 70s Hollywood and those kind of movies. So now a big star was expected to be nude on camera. They were expected to, take it all off, which she did again and again and again and again and again. Or what's unlike Raquel, who just had to simply be attractive while not showing everything. Like here or there. Yes, from the original Bedazzled. Well, Nick says, yeah, well, that Playboy's is thicker than they usually are from back then, because that was the big gala Christmas issue. So they put more time and effort into that. It was a mixture of it being a Christmas issue, but also the concluding issue of a decade. So that's why they really decided to go all out, make it much bigger than it would be before. Even though that was the later 70s, so that means that the page count on the little Annie Fanny stories they would do were not as extensive as they would be, where they would be like 8 pages to 6 pages. I think that one was maybe 3 that they show in there. And stopping for some water. And yes, well, we all should already know about my father enjoying daily nudity. And I think he's not referring to himself. He's referring to seeing the nudity being other women. And hello to Rita Castillo in the chat. Yes, they're going to be coloring this Tifa, Nick. This is going to be a little different for everyone. I thought, why not? With the weekend, I was streaming from the floor of UMaCon, so how about we try something else a little different? Or at the very least, a little more variety, a little more special and interesting. I thought to show you all the color, the work I do in color, or in the very least, the coloring part itself, which is far different than what I usually going to go in with, because let's go and see what you all really like, if you like to see me color things or not. This is just an experimental bit, and, well, that's why maybe the stream with what would happen earlier, the signal, whatever was going out on everyone else's end, that was the sign that I should have just ended with the wrestling and get this back on over. Even though the first attempt at the stream tonight, Nick, you missed Bitch Cancer showing up and hitting her own people, including Mr. Sexy, dropping them and then giving them a lap dance while they're laying there unconscious in her naughty schoolgirl outfit. Well, apparently my father enjoys to grocery shop nude. That sounds like some kind of Monty Python segment to me. I've never seen him do that myself. The man who doesn't want anything being put in the little top rack on a cart when he does go shopping, because of all the germs. I'm not sure if he would actually go shopping like there at a place like that nude. Right. Well, in that case, no, he shops nude on Instacart. Okay, then. So does that mean does that mean that when he gets them on Instacart, does he answer the door naked? We had Fat Samurai in the chat. Fat Samurai, everyone in the chat there, do you think that when my father gets his Instacart order, when he's shopping, he answers the door naked? I'm legitimately curious about this. If you think he's willing to go that far, if he would do it or not. Well, from the way you speak, well, my father says yes, always. I'm not sure if I would ever do that myself. I don't feel like getting arrested. Calling someone a fat, crazy bitch on Twitter is able to get me permanently banned. And yes, I am still waiting on the whether or not my Twitter appeal will actually go through. And hell, you all know I'm still waiting on the channel being monetized, even though now it's been far more. It's now now well more than a month past the time of officially getting through all the requirements and getting the application. An increasing matter of impatience and annoyance and anxiety and stress and all that over this not going through. Why the hell not? They're certainly taking their time. It was sort of like when I was on Twitter and any kind of real interaction had to be with me going onto other people's pages and really trying to interact with them and get them interested in what I was doing instead of any kind of real, algorithmic kind of uptake when it came to Twitter. Yes. But now the way the terms, the whole upheaval of what's going on over there, there's an awful lot of traffic of people getting their filing appeals and things like that now, or starting channels now and all that. So there is going to be a lot of bureaucratic traffic in all these things to process. So it's not going to be an instant thing. Like I think Vincenzo C was the one who said about he just started. Let's see. And Instant or anyone else, I'm not paying $8 to get a blue check mark. What was that? What was it? Try to see if anybody. And Rita wants to know, why is everyone in the chat yelling? I'd like to know why. Who? Why? Where? That's a who, what, when, where, why situation. There's actual details of what's kind of journalistic integrity is going on. Yes, the DUI I saw earlier, that was funny as hell, but you got to know that comedic yelling, that you have to be careful of that, because then you yell too much, then it's just a matter of your whole comedy stylings just becomes shouting, like Will Ferrell. And then it's like the one, as soon as he had a funny supporting role in what was it, Old School. Then after that, he started getting bigger roles and lead roles, and then people got tired of it. Was just okay. He's either awkwardly naked or screaming at people. Except for Elf, I'll give him that. That's one where he's got something else to do beyond the weird nudity and screaming at people. That's probably why out of that time when he was the big new comedy star, between just it not being like all the other ones he did and also the holiday theme, you see it more. Yeah, and you get that having a more positive interaction to the point where it's not just annual airtime on Freeform or other channels that'll have Christmas movies, but there's even a musical I saw. To see that there was a musical for Elf when I would still go downtown. I remember at one of the big theaters they had one of those traveling tour groups. There's the big Broadway musical, and then there's the touring company of it. It goes to cities where they do have Broadway shows and all that. And they had one for Elf the musical. It was some guy who really looked nothing like Will Ferrell at all, but there's a musical, and there it is. Well, you know what I'm talking about, Fat Samurai. About it started when Old School with him. He gets too many beer bongs, so then he starts streaking, or he gets up on stage to yell, "We're going streaking," right in front of Snoop Dogg and all his fans, all that shit. And then the wife and the friends catch him. He's just there. And what's funny about that is the mental image of like being on that actual street when there was an actual on that actual street. There he is, and then just being around the perimeter where the cast and crew have quartered off to shoot this scene, and just going by and seeing, oh yeah, there's that guy from Saturday Night Live. There he is. I cannot believe that one has I cannot be going around in that area and just suddenly seeing that and not thinking, okay. Or the weird that out of context, you're walking around and thinking, oh yeah, that movie's going to be a hit. Yes. Guy who was the Lava guy from Saturday Night Live, there he is just going to be jogging naked down this one street in Westwood. It's truly going to be a blockbuster. But there's no accounting for commercial tastes. The people liked it. The audience, like with Black Adam, the audience had spoken and they loved it. Although I don't remember Old School being really critically derided or anything when it came out. I'm not expecting it to be revered or anything, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't have the kind of people thinking that it's actually dangerous, that the Warner Brothers is not paying more attention to what mainstream critics have to say about a movie than the box office returns. Like, what was it that I think it was Comic Book Resources who put out that crap article recently about how dangerous it is for Warner Brothers to be so caring about fandom over the Black Adam fan base. The same jackasses that put up all those articles continuing to defend the Eternals, because you know that the Eternals saved lives, right? Yes, a superhero movie, it saved lives. Of course, Fat Samurai now wants us all to go streaking. And well, my other people want to see my father go streak for Instacart, but now I'm not sure whether or not you would want to see that. He doesn't bust his ass working out every day for nothing. Just like I'm not here drawing every day for nothing. I'll go now and repaste in. It's pinned to the top of the chat, but now once again, put up there in the chat is the link to my Square store. Yes, I had to do a lot of, there was inventory rejigging or rearranging and removing and recounting. So that means, yes, it's a change there. There's the link to the store. I go in there. There's all my color stuff. Like this is 20 a piece. My pen and ink pieces are 25. The sketchbooks are 25 as well. And don't forget, there's also commissions available for pen and ink for 50, colors for 25, or trading cards for 20. And hello to Austin Woods, complimenting me on the colors, very Yoshitaka Amano. Well, if you remember, Yoshitaka Amano, I think, was still working on the Final Fantasy games when I know he wasn't the main production designer on Final Fantasy VII, but he was still involved in the games there. And since Miss Lockhart was from that game, all right, makes sense, doesn't it? It would be if anything, a compliment like that really shows I am capturing the character correctly. And doing something that's a Yoshitaka Amano related character, but then the way I'm doing it looks like, Picasso. I screwed up. Dude, you got a fucking dart in your neck. Well, man, you just took one in the jugular. You're crazy, man. You're crazy. All right. The toilet sex scene. That was in Wedding Crashers, not Old School. Yes, Will Ferrell does appear in that, but it's another one of those where he's only in like 2 scenes and he's there. He's supposed to be funny when he's yelling. That became the thing said about how yelling too much comedically winds up just becoming a thing where you're covering your ears instead of finding something funny. And that's how almost like a self-parody with Will Ferrell and his choices of roles, where it just became, okay, when is he going to start screaming? He's got to scream. He better scream, Oh, yeah, now we know he's being funny. There he is. He's screaming his head off. It's like Nicolas Cage that way. And Pasquale369's in the chat, so everyone say hello to Pasquale. Oh, yes. Well, we never do get to see Will Ferrell's pee-pee in there, although that does bring up another question about the duplicity over male nudity, where that you got the naked, at least before the Lena Dunham generation, you got the fit, good-looking naked women, but male nudity was almost always something that was meant to be funny or gross. Like Will Ferrell or Dennis Franz constantly waving his ass in our face in both TV and on film. Dressed to Kill and City of Angels, those are movies where he also shows his ass, besides his famous ass shot in NYPD Blue. Yes. Or of course, Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel, at least with Harvey Keitel in Bad Lieutenant, he actually got in shape to go and be nude on camera there. So I'll give him that. He may not be the best looking Jewish man in the world, but at least he knew, okay, I should very least, maybe if I'm going to do the scene, maybe some sit-ups. And according to the director, other messed up scenes, like when he has those 2 women pulled over and he makes them pantomime giving oral sex, that was something that Keitel improvised on location when they were shooting that scene. Initially, what was in the script is that he would take the women out of the car and he would start dancing with them in the middle of the street. That's what was scripted. But then it was Keitel's idea to threaten them about drugs or if they're prostitutes and make them pantomime giving head so he can go and watch them while openly masturbating. Did I mention Bad Lieutenant was released NC-17? Because, yeah, The piano, on the other hand, wasn't. But of course, that's the magic of the Weinsteins, where they can get whatever they want. Or funny how they have an actress like in that film, Holly Hunter, who won an Oscar for a role where she never speaks. Although her early on, she's another Oscar-winning actress who got her start in horror, and not just any horror, but it was also that. What was it? Oh yeah, it was that she got her debut in The Burning. The Burning, starring. She wasn't in the starring role, and it wasn't really a film with like a conventional lead. It was like an ensemble movie that had her and Fisher Stevens and Jason Alexander all in their earliest roles, and that was a Weinstein production. Yes, it was probably the first first Miramax production. If you look at it, I actually have The Burning on Blu-ray. And they show, yes, the Bob and Harvey, but also a Miramax. It's a Miramax release for a slasher film about a burn victim who kills people at a camp with garden shears. And yes, Holly Hunter in both her Oscar-winning, glory, and also in her getting her start in slashers, owes it to all Harvey Pervy hands. His like open nickname out in Hollywood was that the problems with him that people were public about was him being a tyrannical asshole to directors, and that he would forcibly re-edit films against their will, and he was called Harvey Scissorhands. And this would range from like big prestige kind of movies he was involved in producing, but also in stuff like Hellraiser Bloodline and The Crow City of Angels. So Instant Karma, if you would jump Johnny Depp, how would you want him to look? Would you want Johnny Depp to look like how he did? What movie? What appearance did he have in a movie? Did Johnny Depp? Would you want him in? Would you want him like What's Eating Gilbert Grape or Edward Scissorhands? Trying to think other ones. Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, Spider fans in the chat asking my favorite show on the Playboy channel. Well, my father says Sex Court. I would have to say there was a sort of Big Brother kind of like a hardcore Big Brother kind of parody they did called Seven Lives. Yes, that'd be the one for me. That'd be my answer to the question. Because Playboy did produce some of those kind of shows that you would see on Cinemax or Showtime late night, but those were not on the Playboy channel, so those don't really count to me. That there would be ones that were a Playboy production, but then they'd be on Showtime or Cinemax, and that's not the same thing. It's like when you would have Disney produced shows on a network that wasn't Disney owned. Yeah, that kind of thing. I've actually seen it, and that must be my father says Eric Bischoff produced a show. That's a different Eric Bischoff, because I've looked Eric Bischoff up on all the different ways he gets screen credits on his IMDb page, and not one of them have any Playboy Channel series. That has to be someone else who just happens to have the name. Because with IMDb, if you were involved producing, writing, whatever on those wrestling shows, even to this day, they still get an IMDb credit. Like Ed Ferrara and Vince Russo, every single episode they were involved in, from WWF or WCW, their name Gun Saturday Night. If it was Live Wire, those are hell. You see now, even internet personalities now, their stuff gets some IMDb credits, like Spoonie or Razor Fist now. So them crediting wrestlers, all that, it would be over there. And hell, my father has he has a screen credit on IMDb as well, if you can look it up. Where I think I've mentioned this story before, but about how he was going to be given a screen credit by Columbia Pictures, and it became a thing where repeatedly he would get calls from someone at Columbia Pictures asking him how to spell his name, and he would painstakingly, repeatedly, multiple phone calls, interrupting his workday again and again, explaining how to spell his last name. And then it comes time to St. Elmo's Fire's coming out, the credits are rolling, then like in around the middle area of the credits, there's his name, and they misspelled his first name. They only spelled it with one L instead of two. So, it's almost like some kind of Twilight Zone kind of weird. You forget that you get the wish granted, but you didn't phrase the wish correctly, so it winds up backfiring or going haywire like that. Oh, wait, you had to be more specific in that one area that you weren't. And then it would have been completely fine. My father and I was saying they figured I was not Jewish. Well, now Fat Samurai saying this drawing is very Rizzo, and that's a complaint. Well, I also said before it was Yoshitaka Amano, so is it an Amano-san or is it Rizzo? As long as it's not Lizzo, I'm happy. Because as usual at any kind of convention like this, anime, horror films, whatever, you saw some heifers in costumes they really should not be in. There were a lot of fat Sailor Moons. They can't exactly be fighting evil by moonlight when they're so damn morbidly obese. It looks like they do more of the job fighting evil by Big Macs. And hello to You Don't Say. That for the first time in a while, we've got right there, back there. And Fat Samurai says 100 Bullets is an epic. Well, I've heard of that, but I've never actually read 100 Bullets. Oh, yes. Thanks, Austin Woods, for the correction on the lyrics to the Sailor Moon theme songs. Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight, never running from a real fight. She's the one named Sailor Moon. And I've seen some hot ladies do Sailor Moon cosplay as well. And I don't mean like models who have an OnlyFans or like someone on a model on Instagram, that kind of thing. No, I meant like, you see a woman who's just there at a convention and she's not a professional and yeah, she looks good. But then you also see a lot of the heifers where that'll be $60. Walking. You see them, and I just so badly want to show up. I don't know what it would take, man. Get the channel, over 10,000 subscribers, and maybe then at my next convention, I'll show up dressed like Stewie Griffin with a tuba and find the fattest people at the convention I can find and walk behind the tuba. I remember I said before about how I've never visited the Detroit airport, but one time I did a convention in October that was by the airport, and my father and I were both cracking jokes about certain people that were so damn obese. And we were on a table like away from the main room, but then there was a couple people coming out who were angry. There was this one really heifer lady who looks like she exclusively shops in the fast food aisles of 7-Eleven, and she was yelling. She didn't directly confront me, but I heard her saying, now he's not talking shit when we're right here in the room with him, isn't he? There were some legitimately in shape people there, but it was pretty much the men. You saw like a couple of guys there who there was one black guy who went as Zorro from One Piece, and he legitimately had pecs and a six-pack. And he was there on one of the streams along with some other people who also posted other different characters who were shirtless. There was a Super Saiyan Blue Goku who was a guy who legitimately had a six-pack. Yeah, where's the... my father, yes, he remembers another example of that is not going to Comic-Cons and seeing the ones who dress like the Suicide Squad version of Harley Quinn, and they look like they ate 3 Margot Robbies put together. Yeah, they're dressing like Margot Robbie when she's still new to do sexy roles instead of SJW Oscar bait, and they look like they look like they ate 3 gender studies majors. And, Rita Castillo saying good night to everyone. Well, good night, Rita. Yes, I can, thank you. Hot towel. Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, very funny. Now tell us something that doesn't suck. And what's the deal with airline food? Damn you, vile woman. Damn it, the pus-pouring brat got in hell. I actually had one birthday, a Squeeze Me plush toy, Stewie Griffin that had different phrases. Burn in hell. I'll put me down, you Bombanedian Bondagon. Damn it, the pus-pouring brat got in hell. Damn you, vile woman. Yes. Victory is mine. Oh, yes. You see, Brian. Hello, no, this is Stewie's assistant, Mrs. Pennyapple. Oh, can I at least lead, Stewie? I love you. What? Olive juice? Olive juice? Olive juice you too. Olive juice, Brian. Oh, is Joan of Arcadia on? Oh, I have a day. I keep in shape by walking behind fat people who are playing the tuba. Stop it. No. Oh, God. The bird is not the word. Now you see you try to prevent me from my escape from the womb. Victory is mine. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, thank you. I will get some ice cream, Stewie. You want to go get some McDonald's? You want to go poop in Mother Jolly's shoes? Yes, let's go poop in Mother Jolly's shoes. Yes. You and I are really different. We are together like Thelma and we are not 6 feet tall. Yes, and breasts don't reach your knees. Give it time. Oh, yes. But me amo is Brian. You didn't need to say that. All I have to simply say is me amo Brian. No, just say. Oh, I only knew Dixie as a table. Don't let us see you cry, old man. Don't let us see you cry. It's not me you want. It's my cookies. Damn it, fat man. Discipline her. Surely you're the man of the house. You traitor. I trusted you. Oh no, it's Michael Eisner. Cover your heart. Kalima. Kalima. You betrayed the shareholders. Yes. Remember how unusually angry that Indiana Jones got over that guy betraying Shiva? You betrayed Shiva. Note to self: do not betray Shiva when confronting Indiana Jones. He takes it personally. There's something about Shiva where if you betray Shiva, it really gets him angry. It gets him in a full-on Scott Steiner mode. Imagine Scott Steiner as Indiana Jones. That would be great. You know I don't like snakes? They remind me of Samoa Joe. They remind me of all the guys who are fat. I know you like sugar. I ain't got no sugar. I ain't got no donuts. I know you like sugar, but I ain't got none. That fat son of a bitch is coming in here showing you all know everything. He's fat. He's fat. I'll make him bleed. Hey, go take your clothes off. I'll be there in a minute. It's not a hurry. Count on it. It's a Frankenstein. We call it Frankensteiner. Or how about Stewie as Scott Steiner? You see, old men, they say that all men are created equal, Brian. But the difference between me and that, the statement is not true. I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal, Brian. So you see, usually when you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you have a 50% chance of winning. But when you throw Kurt Angle in the mix, you have a 33% chance at best at beat me. I just want to tell all the stupid brain-dead mad TV fans out there. This man, last time I was on here, he tried to beat me up. He tried to pick me up and throw me around like I was his bitch. You want to improvise such a listen to the script. Yes. Because I, Brian, I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Victory is mine. Mad TV can bite me. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, fat man. Oh, you're upset. You know what time it is? It's peanut butter jelly time. Oh, yes. No, some friends become enemies and enemies become friends. You're going to do that there? Gonna work on your novel? Gonna get a little higher? Gonna get in there? Nah, you're probably just gonna give up. Oh, yes. Oh, look, you're wearing a wool ski cap when it's August and 75 degrees. Oh, but you don't care about society, do you, there? Of course not. You're too cool for that. I wear short sleeve shirts under long sleeve shirts under short sleeve shirts. Yes. Look, she's kissing a baby, a nude baby. Oh, at least I'm walking out of here with my pride. Here comes the story of the hurricane. Yes, Stewie proudly walking out of the school naked with his ass in extreme close-up to the tune of the hurricane. Yeah, very... That's not creepy at all. Oh, yeah. Yes, for the same people who get horribly offended by Margot Robbie's ass and hot pants in Suicide Squad, but say nothing about having a naked baby walking around on a cartoon. Oh, yes. Well, here's when Vanessa thinks I was probably turning heads of the con since I was the only slim one there. Well, I assure you, Vanessa, I was not the only slim one there, but I was definitely probably the best dressed one. Thanks to Nick and his Beverly Hills Cop jacket he sent me off my Amazon wish list. Yes, I was probably the best dressed. He's a big fat phony. Well, I'm certainly not. Maybe Peter. And yes, Vanessa, I live to all make you laugh and to love and to cheer. And that is why now we have ourselves a finished, fully covered Tifa right there. Her huge bust and all. And Spider-Fan wants to know if I think Michigan's going to make the college football playoff. Oh, yes, most definitely. Now that Alabama has multiple losses, they're now number 10. So they're just simply going to replace worshiping Alabama with worshiping Georgia for the rest of the season. In ESPN and their coverage of the SEC, it might as well double for when there is the TV coverage of midnight mass in St. Patrick's Cathedral, and just switch out worshiping, Jesus on Christmas Eve with making it about the SEC. And it's just there. It's all of the ESPN press as the clergy in nomine Patri SEC. Georgia. Yes, like that. I dressed to impress the conventions, and since I'm in the Motor City, well, it made sense when I also wore that at Astronomicon, since Judge Reinhold from Beverly Hills Cop was there. And, well, Spider-Fan, I'm actually very happy for your team LSU because they further humiliated Alabama. So any team that beats Alabama is all right by me. Although when it comes to Ohio State, yes, I like seeing them lose, but I actually prefer to see them undefeated going into their game against Michigan. And it would be as sweet as like what happened in 1995, where Michigan had an okay season in 95, but Ohio State, they were, number 2. They were undefeated. They were going to be the big team for Rose Bowl. And then one guy from Africa single-handedly destroyed Ohio State in that 95 Michigan game. And then Northwestern went to the Rose Bowl instead for the first time in decades. And Spider-Fan, no, I'm not a UCF fan. I actually lived in Orlando when they had that big miracle undefeated season where then they lost their bowl game. And my biggest knowledge of UCF was I would be there on campus sometimes, and that their graduates, their biggest known graduates are Daniel Tosh and the directors of the Blair Witch Project. And also that one of the seasons of the Superboy show from the 90s, the early 90s, there was The Adventures of Superboy. I think the first season they show Clark Kent in college, and that was filmed in Florida on location there at UCF. Yes. And Notre Dame, UCLA, they're the worst. If you're a fan of either, if you follow either USC or Michigan, then you both are mutually sharing in your hatred of Notre Dame. And according to Spider-Fan, Maury Povich went to UCF too. Well, I didn't know that, but I used to love his show. I actually would watch Maury regularly. There would be Maury, there would be Jerry Springer, those judge shows like Judge Joe Brown, Judge Mills Lane. Let's get it on there, Judge Mills Lane. And of course, Judge Joe and Brown, because you can take the Detroit pimp out. You can take the Detroit pimp out of Detroit, but you can never take the Detroit pimp out of the judge. Judge Joe Brown, he's a judge from Detroit right out there. He bringing the real PEEUMP style to the legal system on TV there. He was a peon. There with his gavel, he had that good hair and a good beard. He had a nice, good, strong beard, that nice, good hair, looking like he was looking like Joe Frazier was a judge, although nowhere near as ugly. Joe Brown was a good-looking man, like a good-looking Joe Frazier with a gavel. Guilty, not guilty, guilty, not guilty. Or, of course, they will. I remember, yes, I would see some of the You Are Not the Father segments, but when I was watching Morby, it was still, it wasn't like that became the big segment. I also remember things like they'd have unruly kids come in and they'd be sent off to military school. They would get some like military school and drill instructors to come in and confront these unruly children. Like the ones the segment on South Park where Cartman first did the whatever I want. Yeah, that one. Whatever, I do what I want. Oh yeah, Nick, I have seen that, where the black army guy with the huge arms comes out and starts shouting at all the panels. Or what was another one? Remember an episode of Strippers Who Are Too Sexy. Yes, there's these women who are strippers, and their mothers come on the show to argue with them about how they're being too slutty. Spider-Fan says Jerry Springer's the best show ever. I love that in the 90s. Hell, I even loved the movie Ringmaster with the gorgeous as all hell Jamie Presley and the inimitable mountain of black perfection that is Michael Jai White. Yes, loved that. So with that now the case, now it's past the hour and usually would be. I know that, yeah, the show was cut short by the signal interference and starting over, but it's usually past the 1 hour mark. So now I want to know if whether or not you would want to see me keep going, or and to have the full hour segment, or if you would want me to stop at the usual time. That's up for you all to vote now here in the chat. Because if not, it's the matter of yay or nay to all of you. You are the ones who decide like this. Yeah, Jared. Speaking of Family Guy making fun of people, yes, James Carville went to LSU, the one that they made fun of with on Family Guy when they're running for Peter and Lois running for, I think, like the school board, and you see there he is, James Carville. Oh my God! Did somebody open the Ark of the Covenant? Making fun of James Carville's terrifying face. He does look like a guy you'd see in a suspect lineup for a serial killer. Oh, let me see. I've got the photos right here. Because Nick wants to know if I showed the photo of Raquel Welch on the wooden desk. I did not, but yes, out of the new 8x10s, my 8x10 collection expanding, there's this. Yes, very nice. Almost as right up there, we've got the Raquel in the front and one in the back. Right there, alongside this one of her only other scene in Bedazzled. And this one, of course, from her other major scene, but this is pretty much what, there's actually at least one poster for the film that pretty much just had this as the main image. It was just this still with all the other poster details around there. Yes. I have lots of Raquel Welch to enjoy now, says Nick. Well, that is very much a good thing, because as you can see here, now in her prime, there is no such thing as her taking a bad photograph at all. It's like she's like 7 of 9 that way before she got Picardified, thanks to the jackasses at Star Trek Picard, who seem to have an axe to grind with everyone that isn't immediately in their writing staff. Not just the Star Trek fandom, but also other things that have to do with their own neuroses and body issues. Of course, sexy blonde in the tight suit, 7 of 9, becomes a scowling, blood-hungry dyke. Well, hello, Puma Fist is back. And well, my father's now saying, time for me to enjoy my company. She's ready. Yes, she's ready to get back to bed. I don't know if she is tied up to the bed yet, like my father once did to a woman who was he's dating, then left her there to go watch college football when she was all naked and ready to go. Nope, I'm not going to get naked. My hair is far too greasy to get naked. I want it to be all glistening and shiny and fresh when you see me strip. Oh, I'm not telling my audience to strip. That's not something I do. Although, if you follow the link to my Square store and donate 100, then I'll take my shirt off in the stream. That stakes. As somebody donates 100 in the stream, then I will be shirtless. All right. Well, my father's saying she made my bed a water bed. I hope that doesn't mean that she peed herself on the bed. You kept her there so long she wound up peeing. That's just gross. I hope not. And now, well, I'm pretty sure that's why we haven't seen Instant Karma in the chat for a while. She may have gotten grossed out by the thought of, hey, why no shirtlessness? Or now also Vanessa saying, you are not 30, you are only 22, says Vanessa. Okay, I'm 22. I was lying, all right? Is someone about to strip? Okay, I threw it in a cave. What do you want from me? What are you, Mr. Perfect? You know what happened? It's probably lying in a big pile of guano. They have guano. And the great white bat has great white guano. That's what you slipped in. That's what was on the shoe. And that explains the abrasion on your palm. I can reverse it. Oh, bad boy, that's what you slipped in. That's what was on your shoe. And that explains the abrasion on your palm. Damn, I'm good. I have exercised the demons. This house is clear. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Come on, Bart. Say, oh, baby. Oh, the baby. I will be the first. I will uncork her. She is no virgin. Yes. My woman, she do terrible thing on boat, and I cannot forgive her. Oh. I will go there to find Pamela to California with my friend Mr. Jesus, and together we shall take her. Mm. Yes. That's why Roger Redactor is dead. He found Captain Winky. Now, if woman as she claims to be, then she has the worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen. I can. Oh my God. Einhorn is a man. Oh. Oh. No. Your gun is sticking to my hip. That's it. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is a man. Oh my God. Einhorn is a man. Excuse me. Do you have a mint? Or perhaps some banaka? Asshole mio for sodomia. I remember once in a game of dodgeball when I got tagged out, what I did was I proceeded to go and do the Ace Ventura with the ass. Yes, I got knocked out in a high school dodgeball game once and went, excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Oh, just calling my dog, man. Oh, yes.
I don't know, saying he's the biggest bad dick there is. Yeah. So talking to me or your ass, I'm gonna be in trouble. All right. You know, with murderers and pimps and drug dealers out there, a missing dolphin ain't exactly a high priority. Are there any suspicious bets being made? Of course, there's bets being made. It's the Super Bowl. And don't make me go back to Fern Gully and make me sing about how I'm going to eat you.
And I also remember Fern Gully. That was probably the first. That was actually before Aladdin came out. That had, I think it came out before Aladdin with a stunt cast, Robin Williams in a big bunch of cartoon movie with all kinds of stunt cast celebrity voice actors like Christian Slater. Well, of course, Robin Williams, but also Tone Loc. And he has that song about how I'm gonna eat your body.
I'm gonna eat you.
No, or is that? Now, Puma Fist wants to see me be on some shrooms. You'll sooner see me apologize for making fun of Hillary Clinton than I will ever take shrooms. Trust me on that one. I will go and give a hug and help cope to that fat bitch who fell to the ground shouting no when Hillary lost the election. The one who looks like Patton Oswalt in the glasses, who's now a human internet meme for life. 1,000,001 YouTubers using some variation of that photo. The one I saw, it was some meme that was reused as a thumbnail where it's they Photoshop Elon Musk's face onto a conductor's body, and the whole pit of the orchestra is just all their faces are covered over with that "No" woman. Make it like that one piece of classical music you always hear in movies. Actually, at the big fancy party, the big rich people's party in Ace Ventura, you hear it there. But instead, it's just a sound mix of that. Like with one time, I remember thinking a joke to myself in like middle school about how Freddy Krueger says bitch so many times in those movies, you could edit together a version of the Nutcracker Suite with just Freddy Krueger saying bitch. Bitch, 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 bitch. There was so much copium of the people who make fun of Civil War reenactments. Well, yeah, take a good look at some of those blue hairs out there who 6 years later still are needed to be talked down from the ledge because Hillary Clinton didn't get to be president. Then again, that's something we should always expect. It's the expression that's another one. Well, that one actually that came from a real video where there was some crazy nut confronting some it was some men's rights supporters outside of a courtroom where there was a divorce case happening that was being shown in the local press, and there was some other women counter protesting them, screeching about how the women deserve custody, deserve whatever they want in a divorce because feminism. And then when all her little cheering along with her, she went, "Ree!" It reminds me of the Babylon Bee headline I saw recently of Saturday Night Live under fire for hiring someone, an actual comedian to host an episode in the upcoming week. It would just be great to have Rudy Ray Moore climb out of his grave and just look at all of those side shaves and blue hairs and just tell him, shut up, shut your old time badass up. I swear, if I hear one more word out of you, I'm going to have Tifa here take one of her titties and beat the shit out you. Or if there's something else, this is, about how history being cyclical, social justice crap like that, it's had cycles before where it's happened, very much so in a film called Fritz the Cat. It was the first ever X-rated cartoon. It was based on an underground comic by the godfather of the underground comic, R. Crumb. Fritz the Cat was just one of the many characters he did comics of. And Fritz the Cat was mainly a vessel for him making fun of the counterculture. And remember, this is a guy who was a big druggie, big weirdo. He got a start he would literally just sell his comics himself at a park in Haight-Ashbury, which was the epicenter for the hippies. The reason that Cartman wore a diving suit when walking into San Francisco to rescue Kyle on that one episode of South Park. And there was a segment in the film where it's a bunch of these sanctimonious, pretentious, they're all in the getting told what to think without actually having any real interaction with the world, college students in the early 70s, and they see this old black man in Washington Square Park, and they start telling about how much they respect him and how much they, cheer him for his plight and all that, and also saying stupid shit like, why is it that a great actor like James Earl Jones is always being cast as a black man? I think black people are so much more groovier and so important. Down with the oppression of the whites. And then this old guy just listens to them for a minute and he says, I ain't no jive ass N-word, honey. Who do you think I am, Geraldine? And then just walks away and then just stand there utterly stunned that he wasn't so proud and happy that they were, cheering him on with his plight. There was some millennial comedian I saw who he did some segment on a stand-up talking about how there's the kind of racism you get from people who think they're so open-minded, saying you see liberal white people in major cities who think they're so progressive, but then you really listen to them when they talk to minorities and shows how racist they really are. Like he says, I appreciate some guy who just flat out will call me a racial slur. Okay, he's direct, he's honest in hating me. But then you get these types who think that they're so much progressive, but really they just look down and want to think of you as some kind of prop for themselves or some kind of little purse puppy. Oh, they're just as guilty of thinking that a black or brown person is too stupid or ignorant to hold down a job, or they don't pay a bill on time, or oh, you're on the welfare, but they think it's oh well, I so agree with your plight. I would never want to go and vote against any kind of welfare reform that would reduce your payments because I know you and your family, your people you need welfare for so many generations. I would never want to get rid of that. And I would love for that to say that to then someone's like, jackass, I'm actually a plumber. And what it takes to actually be a plumber in any major city, union or non-union, I actually have more real practical education than you with any dumbass humanities degree you and your dumbass friends will ever have. Your average body shop guy in hell, not even a big chain body shop place like a Pep Boys. I'm talking one of those body shops that's either local or one of those car body shops that comes attached to a Sears in one of those bigger malls. The knowledge it takes and what it takes to learn to be able to work and fixing cars and repairing them and all that, restoring them, that takes more education than your average Kelly Sue DeConnick fangirl who has a anthropology degree and somehow makes them the Queen of Siam. Although they would want you arrested for saying how the Queen of Siam saying that is problematic. Well, how about you actually go out there and interact out there with the world in the first place? There's a difference between the people who just are trying to actually go and live their damn lives. It's like what happens with CG, where the CG fans, CG performers, not all of them are super, the William F. Buckley acolytes of any kind of conservatism. They're just people who want to enjoy their entertainment and not have it be entirely regulated by sanctimonious asswipes who everything has to conform to some politically correct dogma. And some kind of hurling of moral relativism or accusing Ethan Van Sciver of what they universally are always consistently guilty of. Yeah, give me a call when someone like an EVS or any of his peeps are in the major seats of authority at Marvel or DC and are actively refusing to employ people because of whatever socio-political opinion they're expressing on social media, then yeah, that bullshit argument that the Mark Waid's hurl at people to distract them from his history of destroying offices and comic companies he's worked at, or forcing other publishers he's not under contract with to cancel comics they're about to publish because they were about to work with a creator that he does not like. Famous, your boy Zach, John Malin, incident with how they initially were going to publish the first Jawbreakers comic through Antarctic Press, and then Mark Waid strong-armed them into having that canceled, like the sanctimonious little asshole he is. Well, we already mentioned Mark Waid as the kind of asshole who, when directly asked in an interview if he thinks the customer is always right, he said no. And he's the kind of man who deserves to have John McLaughlin of the McLaughlin Group climb out of his grave, or if all that fails, just get Dana Carvey in his McLaughlin Group, John McLaughlin makeup to make fun of him and yell at him doing the scream at his face to go wrong. Or since he's not in jail now, get Kevin Spacey to take off the 2-player hairplugs he has, go back into Lex Luthor mode and have him yell out wrong right into his damn soul. And then you'll wonder why people would rather go and get sketch trading cards from a Malin or Nathan Van Sciver than take a good look at anything that Waid's been involved in like the last 15, 20 years. Pretty much of the Daredevil run. Well, let's hope that Kingdom Come's reprinting his Kingdom Come still is vibrant and he's able to get the royalty checks off that, because DC, when compared to Marvel, at the very least, they are more consistent in actually paying out their artists royalty checks that they're given. DC, they're more, by comparison, willing to deal with actually giving the creators their just desserts, as opposed to Marvel, who still pretty much, it's that you want a royalty check for them, they'll sooner actually give an honest to God apology for screwing over Jack Kirby out of his original artwork and of royalties for what he came up with than you'll see from ever again. Jimmy Hoffa will be dug up before you'll see any real legitimate penance or like compensation to the Kirby estate over what they did and screwed over with his work. I know what they did. Maybe then that's why the reason the best stuff that Marvel has been publishing out there in the recent years is actually none of their new stuff. It's telling that to get something like the Fantastic Four comic that Alex Ross painted, they had to get a different publisher involved to actually publish that, because it's like quality is no longer their policy, except for reprinting classic stuff like this, which, Nick gave me a copy of. This is the omnibus for the Volume 1 omnibus. This is the first 31 issues of the Stan Lee Jack Kirby X-Men run, with the brilliant Alex Ross recreation of that iconic issue 1 cover. Just show you. Brilliant stuff, and yeah, we'll be getting into that, more of that in the future. And another good thing about the original 60s X-Men over the Claremont X-Men, as you saw there, the original X-Men wore maize and blue uniforms, so go blue. All right, and with that, yes, you see, it is that time of the hour, so I want to thank everyone for watching. Subscribe if you're new or returning. Check that you still are subscribed if you are if you're a return viewer. And besides liking and sharing, the best way to support my work is shopping in my Square store. I've got pen and ink pieces, of course, for 25, color pieces for 20. My sketchbooks are 25 or 50, a color for 25, or a trading card for 20. And they're the last items in my color illustration categories, color drawing categories, or coffee sleeve super babes category. You can also donate any dollar amount you'd like to support my work. Donations are the first thing you see in the store. Besides all of that, there is, of course, whatever you buy in the store comes with only a $5 shipping and handling fee. One thing or several things. Or remember, there's always just simply donating. There's any amount and any denomination from around the world. So yes, while my store cannot receive orders from items from addresses outside of the USA, if you live outside of the US and you want to buy or commission, simply pay as a donation. Add up the price of what you want in US dollars with another 25 US, and boom, make the donation, it ships immediately. I'm going to be live again tomorrow night at 10, and a new upload will be premiering at 6:30. So remember, felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.